Well, we're joined now by psychologist Dr. Don Lichi. He's the co-author of a new book, Broken Windows of the Soul, which offers clear insight into the destructive nature of pornography and sexual addiction, offering practical and proven steps to overcoming temptations and achieving victory on these battlefronts. Dr. Lichi's many years of counseling individuals, couples, and Christian leaders has compelled him to write about this issue, which is so pervasive in today's society. Dr. Lichi holds a leadership role at the Christian mental health center called Emerge Ministries in Akron, Ohio. Welcome, Dr. Lichi.
Thank you, Ron. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you here.
I wish it wasn't this topic, but I'm glad to be here anyhow.
Yeah, well, it's a topic that you have dealt with for so many years in people's lives, and it seems to be a growing issue.
It is huge.
Now, Don, first I want you to tell us about this metaphor, broken windows of the soul, which you've used for the title of your book.
Yeah, broken windows came from an idea several years ago. I mean, psychologists do some unusual and nutty experiments where psychologists took a car, put it in a very tough neighborhood of New York, and left it to see what would happen if no one was around. And within 10 minutes, people stopped by, started helping themselves to the car. And within 2 days, the car was totally gone, but they did the same thing with another car in Palo Alto, California, and nobody touched the car for a whole week until the psychologist experimenter broke one of the windows. And once one of the windows was broken, pretty soon all the windows were broken. That's the metaphor. If you don't take care of the little things when they're the little things, those little things can become big problems.
Wow. And a big problem it is, referring to pornography and sexual addictions. Maybe talk about the prevalence of the issue.
Yeah, we started to see this at the center where there were a lot of people coming in to Emerge, and they were saying, you know, we're stuck on this, we're hooked on this, we say we don't want to do this, and we find ourselves going back over and over again. And then with the proliferation of the internet in the late 90s, early 2000s, with the availability, the accessibility, and the so-called anonymity, people began to say, wow, we don't have to go to the seedy little place, you know, the movie theater somewhere. We have it, and the access is right now. It's right here.
Well, I know you mentioned some stats in the book that are just amazing. Like in the span of about 10 years, the number of pornographic sites on the internet jumped from about 70,000 to over 100 million.
100 million. That means that you don't have to look for it anymore. It will find you. I mean, it's on your... It'll find in any kind of your social networking, on the internet. One of the stats that we found most troubling is that the first exposure to pornography now, on average, is age 10. 10 years old. That's the age of my oldest grandson. And I'm thinking, and it causes me to be angry about it, because this is all over the place. People lose their innocence, it's exposed, and then if it's not dealt with quickly, it becomes a huge problem. And people become bound, and they're really bound by it, addicted.
And it's a huge money-making industry, isn't it?
Let me tell you, last year in the United States, the porn industry made more money than all of the professional sports combined. It made more money than ABC, NBC, CBS combined. And now it has become such a multi-billion-dollar, this is not just fly-by-night stuff. These are pros that know what they're doing, they're experts in marketing, and they know where people are, and they go after them to get them hooked.
Wow.
It's big business, billions and billions of dollars.
You counsel a lot of couples, a lot of leaders, a lot of individuals. Where does this issue rank kind of on the list of issues there?
Well, number one, we've got a super team at Emerge Ministries. We have 20 therapists. We're seeing on average of 350 people a week, and ministering directly and indirectly to over 2,000 Christian leaders, ministers, missionaries, other leaders, every year. And this actually is one of the top issues that we're dealing with. Very seldom is this not at least part of the problem when people come to the center. It's almost predictable, and to the point where, okay, you can talk about stats all you want, and you say, all right, we need to deal with this issue at a deep level.
So then who did you really target this book toward?
I foresee this book with a parent who has just discovered that their teenager has been hooked on pornography. It's a wife who's just discovered that her husband has had this secret addiction for years. It's the businessman who In the morning, he thinks about what he did the night before, and he's just racked with guilt and shame and pain and brokenness, and just like, oh, I didn't want to do this, and I did it, and it becomes a cycle. It's the person that is just like you and me that could be tempted in these areas.
Now, temptations are a natural part of our humanness.
They are.
How should they be handled when the initial thoughts come to mind?
And really, that's one of the tricks of the enemy, I believe, is to lead people to think that somehow temptations are unique. If people knew you were being tempted, what would they think? The fact is, Christ was tempted at every point, such as we are, yet without sin. Temptation is going to come. Temptation's not a sin, but temptation can become sin when it's given expression and when it's given entertainment in our minds. That's when it can become a big problem. That's why the broken windows need to be fixed quickly.
Is it only a male problem?
I wish that we could say that, but no, it's not. More and more females are coming. They're, with the social networking, with the availability, the accessibility for illicit relationships, we're finding a big uptick in the number of women who find themselves also sexually addicted.
Now, from a psychologist's standpoint, what actually is going on in a person's mind or physical brain when they are viewing pornography? Yeah,
without going into a lot of the neurology of this, the fact of the matter is that pornography actually taps into all three of the major classifications of drugs. We know that there are stimulants, there are hallucinogens, there are barbiturates, any one of which can become addictive. And we found out, as we did our own brain research, trying to figure out why is it that people are drawn to this and why do they keep coming back to it. They find that their willpower says no, but their body is doing it. And we found out that in many ways that pornography is tapping into the very same part of the brain that cocaine does. And a person can move from just this curiosity to experimental, to regular, to habitual, to addicted. They can move down that whole continuum really in a matter of a couple of days. And when they're hooked, that becomes a tough bond to break.
Wow.
It's a bondage is what it is.
Yeah. Now, you've written this in a very user-friendly and a very layperson's language. It's not a technical manual by any means, and it
was intentional.
Makes it very easy to follow. But how would one person know if they've moved down the road from, toward an addiction?
Probably one of the biggest things is that they have tried to stop. They need more and more of it to get to the same kind of an experience. And it's beginning to have problems in their life, either in their work or their family. They're guilt-ridden, lots of shame, and they want to stop, but they don't. They can't. They just find themselves just drawn back to this over and over again. And part of the addictive cycle is that there's what we would call an ever-increasing 0 point, meaning you need more of it just to get to the same experience. And so it becomes more graphic, more intense, more frequent, and more more visual, and that bondage becomes increases, and to the point where the person really feels that they're in bondage.